Good afternoon, everyone. I am so sorry. I was unmuting my microphone. I hope everybody can hear me. My name is José Gonzalez. I'm the Executive Director of Multilingual Multicultural Education for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what we do in our district. So some of the reflections from the Midwest report have been the focus on the project for us, at least at the district level, was to gain greater understanding of the needs of our growing population of English learners. We have a huge population of English learners, at least for the city of Cleveland. Historically, as we go back in history, the last 3 years have been one of our largest populations. And although our district population has been steady, our EL populations continues to increase. Our school climate was positively associated with the English learner students' achievement in language arts, as well as English proficiencies in the area of speaking. We did find that that production phase was very linked to school climate. We also had a high number of English learner students to certified English as a second language teachers that were associated with lower speaking proficiency. So students that or teachers that are ESL or TESOL certified, as we call it in Ohio, the higher the number of English learner students, the lower the production phase we have found in the study. Higher number of English learner students to bilingual paraprofessionals were also associated with lower mathematics achievements, which goes back to the same results as with the speaking proficiency. Higher number of students that ratio to our bilingual paraprofessionals were associated with lower mathematics achievements. And currently we are doing a full-fledged study in our high school programming to gain more insights on English learner student achievement at the high school level. We have already done the K-8 level, which most of our schools are K-8, and now we are jumping into the high school realm. In our district or in our departments in multilingual multicultural education and CMSD, we usually go through this particular slide on equality versus equity. Part of our theory of action as a district is to be equitable with students. And when we talk about English learners, equal is not always the best for everyone. We do a lot of work in the equity and inclusion area with our teachers, our paraprofessionals, and our district staff as a whole. And we have engraved into our theory of action that equitable practices are the best, which is trying to provide what everyone needs in order to be successful. So currently in CMSD, we have, at the point of this slide, we had about close to 5,000 students. Right now we are sitting at almost 6,500, and that number continues to climb. Our Spanish language, which is our most popular language among the district, we're up to 3,200 students in Spanish-speaking homes. Currently, out of 106 schools, 89 of them serve English learners in some type of EL services. We are a school autonomy district, and each school is responsible for choosing the type of services that they are to provide to English learners, as long as it is research-based. This is our department staff, and what we do in our department is that we have a very centralized way of working with our families. I oversee both ELL education and world languages. And one of the things that we have in our district is that we have a multilingual welcome center, which is managed by an assessment and student placement manager. We have a centralized registration and assessment type of practice with our families. Once our families come in through registration, they can go to any school, but once they answer the 3 federal questions with a yes, they're automatically prompted to come to our welcome center, to finish the registration and assessment component. At that point, one of our registration specialists, along with our assessment manager, will complete the registration process, do the home language survey, do a complete interview with families, and we, at that point, assess for language proficiency and do the programmatic recommendations. So it's like a one-stop shop for all. My department also houses the academics component, which is compliance, academics, programmatic services, and I have 3 program managers that are divided by networks of schools. Under those 3 managers, we also have 6 itinerant ESL resource teachers that are in charge of starting up programs. Our strategy was to, because we are a school autonomy district and we are a school-based budgeting type of district, our schools have that autonomy to decide what type of programmatic service and what type of staffing, as long as it is with state regulations and guidelines. We have a family engagement and family support component to our department as well. We have a family engagement and student support coordinator, and we have a refugee services coordinator. Those 2 individuals, they're in charge of looking and doing a family needs-based assessment and finding out what are the needs of our incoming families. They work with everything from work to uniforms to crisis intervention, food, furniture, employment, in that aspect. We also house a translations and interpretations component, which we have a translations coordinator, and that subdivision is in charge of doing school level translations and interpretations for anything that is in legal matters pertaining to students with special needs or anything that needs to be communicated to the families. So real quick, our biggest language is Spanish, followed by Swahili, Arabic, Nepali. We have Somali, Kirundi, but out of all of these top 10 languages, we have over 54 languages and dialects that are housed in CMSD currently. Our top 10 countries are US-born students, and then we have Puerto Rico, Tanzania, Dominican Republic, Nepal, the Republic of Congo, Uganda, El Salvador, Syria, and Honduras as our top 10 countries. So part of the distinction that we usually have our staff members make is that I usually try to differentiate between an English learner, a refugee, and an immigrant. And this distinction is very important because in our realm of work, we usually think of English learner and everything under that. And it is important for our staff and our community to understand that not every English learner is a refugee, as well as not every refugee is an English learner. Same thing with an immigrant student and so forth. So we usually do that distinction. Part of our goals in our department is obviously to teach academic English or language proficiency. We foster academic achievement in the work that we do in our schools and in the district. We have a huge component on acculturation to a new society, especially with our English learners who are refugees, and preserving linguistic and cultural heritage. For us, it's very important to have students preserve that linguistic and cultural heritage because it makes the connection from one language to the next. As part of our enrollment services, these are the 3 questions that we ask. Many districts have this done at the school level, but we decided to do it as a district for 2 reasons. One, that we wanted to make sure that our families have that connection with someone both at the district level and at the school. So as part of the registration process, those 3 questions are the questions that we ask as part of our OCR and Department of Justice compliance. And if any of those 3 questions are answered either yes or anything other than English, then families are referred to our Welcome Center. Within the enrollment services, families are to be referred to our Welcome Center. Schools are not to perform the enrollment, and that is not because they don't know what they're doing. We want to make sure that we capture every single detail within the enrollment process, and we meet the family's needs. We believe in the whole child, and part of the whole child means that if the family is good and doing well, then the student will be successful. Families participate in the one-on-one interview, home language survey. The children take the language assessment in the key areas, and families also meet with our family coordinators to assess their needs, if any are identified. So in CMSD, we have some program models, and I'm going to go through them rather quickly. Our Newcomers Model, which we have our Newcomers Academy, which is for recent immigrants, limited or interrupted schooling. This program is designed for students who do not have an ESL curriculum in their home countries. And the major goals of this program is to include acquisition, not only to beginning skills, but also to the acculturation of a new society. This is the Newcomers program criteria, which they have to score on our screener, a level 1 or 2. But mostly, the students need to meet one of these 6 criteria, if not more, in order to enroll in the Newcomers program. Transition criteria, students have 2 years or as they transition to an advanced level. We have sheltered instruction in most of our K-8 schools, and also we have structured immersion in our high schools. We have dual language programmatic services in our K-8 schools, 2 out of the many that we have. Our academic strategy for our district is the mixing of the language functions. We embed that a lot in our practices. So we use a lot of the building academic discourse within our lessons and our professional development. We support schools in a number of ways, one of them being the school clinics. And the school clinics is where multilingual program managers are deployed to schools to provide any supports for principals, teachers, and support staffs in all aspects pertaining to the education of English learners in that building. These are some of the ways that our multilingual department supports schools. We have a differentiated approach, which is a school support tiered support, and the program managers are deployed between 3 to 1 day per month in those school clinics. Our family engagement strategy is providing advocacy and what I had mentioned before, any type of family support. And this is the family needs assessment that we use in order to identify the family's needs. We usually use the family needs assessment rubric to identify the severity of the need if there is a need to be identified. This is our data for the family needs assessment, and we saw that 59% of our family needs are at the medium state. We saw a 10% of an emergency, 41% as a priority, and 27% as a low. And at this point, I will turn over the presentation to my colleagues. Thank you very much for your attention.